What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple Newtype, and in this episode, we are returning to Crossbone Gundam Dust. Last time, the mighty transport team departed from Moon's underwater city. They went to Grips where they met the SHIELD Mask MS Corps, and they found Tetaneth Dogati and the EOS Nix. This time, Ash and Leo are stranded out in space. They find the last remaining Minvosky drive ship, and we learn about Ash's past. So let's get into this. An explosion goes off. Leo is disoriented. She wakes up. Apparently, she has been unconscious for a whole day. They were blown off of the colony laser and Ash has been watching over her. Now that she is awake, he gets out of the anchor in a spacesuit and heads to the Chappie. He uses a tarp stored in the Chappie's head and creates a tunnel between her mobile suit and anchor. The tarp is made of Uglina or Midori Mushi because it has a green tint. Midori means green in Japanese. They have 2 water bottles in each cockpit, which is standard. The mobile suits also apparently have toilets. They never use them except for moments like this. However, they don't have food, Leo says. Ash tells her that many mobile suit parts these days are made using bioengineering. The batteries are made of biomaterial and are edible. Probably gives you cancer though. He says there are many parts like this. Much of the plastics is made using corn and sugar. He takes some pieces from the mobile suit and does some mobile suit cooking. The Chappie is usually used by Jangari, and he always keeps stuff in the mobile suit. He looks to find ketchup and Worcestershire sauce. Ash makes a Frankenstein meal out of biomaterial. Leo tries it and says this tastes like shit, but she is amazed that it is palatable. He says it's hard to digest, so be sure to chew properly. Yeah, that's definitely giving you cancer. Leo wonders how he knows all of this. Ash learned about mobile suit cooking from Master Gene Dovin, a mobile suit chef. The chef was able to feed 500 villagers for a month with just 1 mobile suit. This is the modern equivalent of eating the leather in your boots, and a reminder of how harsh life is during the age of warring space states. Leo wonders what is up with Nicole's mom. From what Ash knows, he has a sister that went into cold sleep 16 years ago. Tetaneth started using the EOS Nix as a base of operations. She and Curtis decided to go into cold sleep in shifts. Curtis will search for 5 years, and then he will go into cold sleep and she will search. This will prevent the 2 from growing old and never finding her. However, right after Tetaneth went to sleep, they were invaded by a Jovian militia, and they incarcerated him to Side 3. The Jovians just left Tetaneth frozen. Ash thinks that Curtis chose to go first because he would keep Tetaneth frozen. He would sacrifice his life to search for his daughter. He calls this the pride of the male ego, and just has a hunch. Side 7 contains only the abandoned colony laser and 1 other colony, which is nowhere in sight. Other than that, there is Luna 2. This has long since been abandoned at this point. It's so hollowed out it probably wouldn't even be good for an asteroid drop. It would just crumble into powder. The other sides are closer to the moon, so there is nothing around them. They can't let their guard down. They instantly decide to let their guard down and get some rest. Ash gets close to Leo. She is nervous and wants to ask him a question, but he instantly passes out. That is when the alarms go off. Something is approaching. He sees the wings of light and thinks it is Phantom, but it is a Minvosky drive-powered ship called the Cerberus. The Cerberus is the sole remaining Minvosky craft vessel during the age of warring space states. It was the 3rd Babylonian Vanguard-class ship after the EOS Nix and the Mother Vanguard, but it was incomplete and abandoned after the end of Cosmo Babylonia. This was concealed in Grips 2, where they renovated the Minvosky drive system. With the help of the EOS Nix, they were able to reverse engineer their problems away. It creates an imperfect Minvosky drive, just like Phantom Gundam, and uses the Phantom Light, an imperfect version of the Wings of Light. This fell into the hands of the Land of Hymns before the Decapitation King got his hands on it. It is equipped with 6-beam cannons on the side of the hull. The leader calls himself the Decapitation King, or the Beheading King. They say over the comms, lay out your necks for the Decapitation King. Mobile suits surround them. Leo tries to get her Chappie, but Ash grabs her and pulls her to his anchor. They are outnumbered and going to have to get out of here quickly. Ash's beam anchor is almost out of fuel. They cut loose from the Chappie and charge at the mobile suits. He takes out one of the mobile suits and uses another as a shield. The Ikari Maru tears through a few mobile suits before making a beeline directly towards the hangar of the Cerberus. They try to close the hangar door, but Anchor slides through. Ash says, "Hey, what's up? You saw those skills back there." He recommends that they hire him. Leo is confused, but Ash tells her he's doing a thing. He says, "Also, don't touch her. She's mine." They get out of their mobile suits. One man tries to fight him, but Ash dangles him off the ledge. That is when the Decapitator King shows himself. He seems to know Ash and tells him he should have just surrendered his head. His plan is going as intended. They take them prisoner. Nyato removes all the bugs from the room. They're given food that tastes exactly like the mobile suit cooking. Ash wonders if his master is on board this ship. He is going to need Leo's help in this plan he is devising. Ash talks to the Decapitator King, while Leo sneaks out of the prison and looks for Master Jean. Ash knows that this is Sylvester, the Federation officer that was always by Grandpa King's side back in the day. He takes off his mask. Ash says, "Nice name. I bet it works wonders for intimidation." Sylvester says this is no ploy, boy, and he shows him his collection of decapitated heads. He pulls out the head of what looks like Damien Karras, but all Hasegawa's characters kind of look the same. He says since the day Gramps died, he has changed. His life is all about destruction now. Taking heads is his way of destroying humanity. Leo climbs through the vents. She then finds a woman doing the cooking. She expected an old man for some reason when Ash called her master. Leo busts out of the vents, confusing Jean. We have flashback to the past, to a young Ash King with Grandpa King overlooking Anchor Gundam and the escargot. Also there is Ash's master, Jean Dovan, and old man mechanic Frank Oz. I assume this is an homage to Frank Oz, the puppeteer of Yoda in Empire? Ash was 14 at the time. Sylvester tells Grandpa to go easy on the boy. The Federation gave him orders to watch over the King family. Also, according to this translator, Grandpa is known as the Uncle King, not the Anchor King. It sounds a little off. Young Ash says that the anchor frame is old. Frank Oz says that this is F-89. It is the strongest. Frank used to work for SNRI. Remember, Minvosky fusion reactor miniaturization happened over time. The F-89 stands at 18 meters tall, but packs more power than Penelope Gundam. It wasn't until F-90 that they were able to make them even smaller, making mobile suits at around 14 meters tall. Frank Oz believes that F-89 is the culmination of everything before the age of miniaturization. Ash, Jean, and Sylvester head out to explore. It seems Frank is Jean's grandpa and thinks the two like each other. However, it seems that Ash is into her, but she is completely ignoring him. When driving through the city, they spot protesters. Many people in Side 7 are opposed to another colony laser and are hesitant of everything, which makes Ash's grandpa's position tricky since his job is to fix colony mirrors. People are already struggling to survive living off of mobile suit parts to eat. Ash and Jean have been sneaking out to feed the people of the colony. To Ash, his grandpa's status feels weird. His parents eloped because his mother wasn't born of a noble family. They got caught up in the Zanskar War and died. Probably got their heads chopped off before the guillotine incident with Ash took place. He was with one of his mother's relatives after almost losing his head during the Zanskar War. His grandpa took him in. To him, his grandfather is just some guy who showed up out of nowhere. It seems like his grandpa is playing more of a role than actually trying to parent. Also, this is a flashback within a flashback. He doesn't hate him, but is more apathetic. One day, he hopes his grandpa opens up about the past. They have to head back when they notice an explosion. They get into their Jeep and rush back to a Federation outpost. In the background are short shoulders. The locally modified James gun, also known as the Short Shoulder, was given the name due to its shoulder armor, which is slimmed down. These units are specifically not designed for mobile suit assault, but rather for suppression of colony citizens. The Federation made these with funds meant to feed the poor. Weapons include anti-personnel Vulcans on the back of the hands and a shotgun. Grandpa King was taken to the colony laser. Jean is going with Sylvester to bring him back. Not only is she the cook, but she also works as a merc for Uncle King. Ash needs to escape and head to Cartoon Meat, but he wants to help. Jean kisses him, then smashes his face into her boobs, then punches him. He tells him to throw away his hatred, but keep his righteous indignation. She says to wait for him at Cartoon Meat. Sylvester heads out in the Short Shoulder, while Jean pilots the Kettlezon. The Kettlezon is a salvaged Denenzon. Jean Devon gave it this name, though it isn't official. It has been highly modified, and only Jean knows how to pilot it, because Cosmo-Babylonian parts are hard to come by. Frank Oz has to make bespoke parts to compensate. Its main weapon is the gun axe, which combines a Hidok with live ammunition. It resembles the Anchor's gun axe. This can shift from close to mid-range depending on its needs. It also has a pod shield made of what looks like a comb-side pod. After fleeing to Cartoon Meat, he got word that there was an explosion and his grandfather died. His company was stripped, but Grandpa King left Ash, the Anchor, and the escargot in his will. He eventually had to find his own way. In the present, Sylvester says, "Check this out," and shows Ash his grandpa's head. He says it was the first head that he took. Sylvester tells Ash what really happened that night. Their headquarters is on Luna 2 in a place called Cocytus. Not to be confused with the Cocytus access from Despair Memory. The Decapitation King meets with Frank Oz, who is with Leo. He says this is my concubine for the next 20 days, and to leave him alone. In 20 days, the Decapitation King plans on declaring independence and war against Spacenoids. Frank says to leave him alone until then. He is protecting Leo. They're happy to learn that Ash is still alive. Jean is there too. She says that Side 7 is only 1/40th the size of the Principality of Xeon's forces. She crunched the numbers, and this isn't going to end well for them. Frank knows that in 20 days, they're going to cut off Leo's head in front of Ash. Meanwhile, Ash is chained up and forced to look at his grandpa's head. He thinks back to what Sylvester told him. He went to Grips and found men who wanted to cut off his grandpa's head. Sylvester tries to get them to stop, but they are convinced he is here to restore the colony laser. Before they could cut his head off, Sylvester remotely operates his short shoulder and fires its Vulcans, killing all the rebels. He is sad he killed civilians. They have to get out of there as they are going to blow up this place. But then Sylvester finds some documents. He learns that Grandpa King was actually trying to resurrect the colony laser. The rebel civilians were telling the truth. King calls him an idiot and says, why do you think the Federation told him to watch over some random rich guy and his family? For humanitarian purposes? Get real. His goal is simply to get rich. He wants that cash money. The fact that the colonies prosper from his endeavors are merely a side effect. He plans on giving all his wealth to Ash. In that moment, Sylvester decided that this world isn't worth saving, so he slices King's head off himself. The colony explodes and Sylvester burns. 19 days later in the present, one day before declaring independence, mobile suits approach Luna 2. Sylvester kills his navigator for not detecting them earlier. It happens to be Kaguya and Taganas. He says, oh well, I guess we have to start this war one day early. Out of Luna 2 comes a mysterious mobile suit. And that will do it for this episode. Ash is faced with the fact that his grandfather ended up assisting the Federation with the colony laser. Though he wasn't really close with his grandpa, he seems to be creating generational enemies for Ash. Thanks, Grandpa! Next time, Kaguya and Taganas fight this mysterious mobile suit called the Baroque. The Baroque will split a ship in half, and Font and the Cyclops team get involved. But that will do it for now, Newtypes. Remember, don't lose your head. Peace.